Hello,
Hello.
Battlefront Competitive League community.
Hello.
Damn dog.
Welcome to State of the Front. Another week of that. We've done 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row after extended time off. We're improving one step at a time. Um, we don't really have a plan for this one today. We had a couple ideas, but uh, they kind of got thrown out because of Easter or other commitments that made it impossible for that to happen. So we're kind of just going to wing it. We'll talk about current things. We're asking one person if he wants to come on, but we're waiting for a response from him. So, talk about the history of the BCL Outswing Faces. We'll talk about current events too. Haven't really decided fully what we're going to talk about just yet. I know that a hot topic will probably be the 3v3 league and the fact that it's going to be on here shortly. But yeah, that's how you doing today.
Pretty good.
Um,
Just woke up not that long ago.
Not that long ago. It's noon.
Yeah, it was the latest I've woken up in a long time. It was we were trying to play 2-on-2 CS:GO, me, Pookie, Jamin, and ISO, and Pookie could not get his game to work. So I kept telling him like, Pookie, if you're not ready in like 5 minutes, I'm going to sleep. And he's like, hold on, it's almost working. And then that just went on for a while, and
So
we eventually finished it at like 3 a.m. for my time.
yeah, because you guys were
Almost.
talking about that at like 2 a.m. I remember that. Um, well, I guess let's start talking about the 3v3 league. We've got a bunch of new teams, some new faces. We have a couple returning teams from season 2, and we have one team that's been around at least in name uh since season 1. I guess the first hot topic will be we can talk about undercover champions. We got Stud, Vin, Sparks, and who's their fourth?
Zemo.
Zemo. I thought Zemo was bringing back YSU, so I was kind of surprised that I saw this list, and then I also was surprised at the name choice, considering they didn't choose to stay with MM.
Yeah, this was a very surprising team for me because I hadn't really talked to anybody about like team making or anything, so I didn't really know much was going on. Because anytime anyone ever messaged me, I was like, I'm probably just not going to play this season, or I'm going to play with KJC and just kind of chill as a fourth man. But
Then they replaced you
Blade
for a better
decided,
player.
yeah, pretty much. Um, So I had really no idea what was going on between anybody's like team making, who was doing what or anything. I figured Stud would play with Sev and like Ace or something like that. And yes, Dave, I was going to be on KJC.
Yeah, Dave. It turns out you're like the sixth or seventh man on the list.
It was supposed to be me the whole time because Blade probably wasn't going to play, and then Blade decided that he wanted to play. So I was like, I don't really want to play. If Blade wants to, then he can play, and so that's what happened. Yeah, classic Obi. But yeah, so I figured that Stud and Sev, or some combination of that, like Stud and Ace or something, would be playing together. I guess it makes sense because I think, um, Ven is probably the bridge between everybody. I would say. Um, I think that team is really strong though.
No, I,
I
I, I, I think that team's very, very strong, especially their top lineup. Stud has been on a rampage. He's kind of cooled off a little bit recently, but he's stabilized.
mhm.
Um, Zemo, we all know how good Zemo is. Vendetta is Vendetta. When he has NYC, he's very good, and then Chicago it can be a flip flop, but sometimes he does great. And then Sparks is a great, solid fourth player. That team is that team's very strong. I knew that MM wasn't going to be the same this season, but I didn't expect it to almost be an upgrade. Maybe not quite. You and Che are super strong, but it's still a
Mhm.
very strong team.
Yeah, I mean, me, Ven, and Stud, like I guess Simon and Sparks were on. So me and Ven and Stud did a 3-on-3 against R Dubs, Che, and Sev, which is probably the top lineup for that team.
Definitely in the top
And
I'm
I
next.
think we lost by like just one flag. I don't know. We lost, but it was really close. It was a really good match. So I'm expecting those two teams to really slug at it. Lost by 3. That's what Ryan's saying.
And he said that Clone was playing.
Clone. I'm pretty sure it was Wyo. Stud was streaming, but I'm not gonna
Wolvie's in
bother.
the chat.
I'll take Ryan's word for it. But I thought it was Wyo.
He is if we're going by the name order, he's technically team captain because he's first in the list. So, but
True.
but that's the other team I wanted to talk about too is RWS, Sev, Shay, and Clone. I honestly didn't see that one coming, but I guess after Stud went with Undercover Champions, maybe Sev was just looking for a place to play.
From what I've heard, Sev wasn't planning on playing, and he's kind of supposed to be more of a fourth man on the team.
Speaking of, I know you're here, Ryan. I don't know if any of the other team with no name is. You guys only have till the end of this week to pick a name, so figure out a name amongst yourselves. So I'm not gonna put you guys as to be determined. So make sure you guys figure out a name. But that's another you do have one. Well then DM it to me. What you doing? But I think that's another really strong team. Definitely on sniper maps, they're going to be very strong. But I think they're even versatile enough that NG maps aren't going to be that big of a deal to them. So
yeah,
two very, very strong full NA teams. Whereas last season you could say there was only really one because of Passy playing on Snuggly Wuggly Consortium. So, but
yeah. Looking at the team list, I honestly can't see any team beating either of those two teams. I would say Nightwing, Crude, Urbans, and Yadu are the closest.
Yeah, I was going to say the returning team of Highness could be pretty strong. It depends on Urbans, I think, really. Because we know you're going to get out of Yadu, Crude, and Nightwing, especially on NYC. They have a cap at some point. But Urban's on that team. He did good in relegation. He's been playing really well in NYC lately. That could be they could still be pretty strong overall.
Yeah, I definitely think they'll give them a good match, but I don't think Highness can beat either of those two teams. But I think it should definitely be a good match. But yeah, it'll be fun to watch. Definitely those three teams play. There's also a lot of other good players kind of spread out, but I think those three teams are the ones that are the most stacked.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they get rid of the Highness Lowness coin flip that we were talking about last season. It looked like in relegations they did, but we'll have to see if that continues into the regular season of this season. We could talk about if we're asking Kevin the all-Finnish lineup, but even though it's not, but we can talk about them. Kevin's back in the 3v3 league, playing with his good friends Sean, Mutane, and they actually picked up Miko because Ace decided to go play with some friends from the old SS days in JV8.
Yeah, Ace is a big Dodger.
But that makes them an all European lineup too. So we're gonna see them playing on NYC with a high ping, but they should have some split servers in there as well. But I'm just excited to see Kevin play again.
Yeah, I think Kevin, he's gonna have a lot to do if his team wants to get some dubs. But on AA, especially on EU, he'll have some more help. But on NA, he's going to have to turn up. There's also there's really not that many weak teams. I think every team's got players who can turn up. So I think in past 3v3 leagues, the bottom few teams have been a bit weaker, but I think now just everyone's at the bottom levels playing really well. So I think it's gonna be good between those teams.
Looking at this list, do you think anybody is solidly Division 2? Well, I think we could say Silver's Anonymous is probably... I don't know about Adia's team, probably. I don't know. But...
It's hard to say. I mean, I've never seen the JOI guy play. I know that he's an HA player. He's a No Force player, right?
Yeah, he's an HA player.
So I think if he's in the lineup, I don't think he has any Conquest experience. So I think they're gonna struggle a lot. I think every year is actually insanely underrated, but he's actually gold. Fun fact.
Yeah, he's actually gold now. Props and every year. KG.
Considering how little he plays, he's actually pretty insane. So
Yeah, it is true. I definitely think SA is solidly there. I would say Vader, Aditya, Joy, and every year are. Super Mad Cats, I think, is a big question mark on where they will be in terms of, like, if we were to do power rankings, I think they're a pretty big question mark because also Hype, U2 Hoodie, is playing in her first competitive tournament, but yeah, setting, whatever you want to call it. But they could be really good. They could be kind of average. I don't know.
there's a few newcomers to the competitive scene because JOI and Don't Care Dave and Jimmy.
Yep, U2 Hoodie.
I guess Pro Slayer. Is that his
No,
first tournament?
he's played before. He missed 2 seasons, I think, when he took his hiatus, though. And comes the, oh my god, you show your hand and you no text. Happens every stream. You could technically say Kratos, Slack, and Sniper, even though they played on PS2, but they haven't played in 3v3 yet.
But they played in tournament.
Yeah. Scout, I think Scout's first tournament is the BFH draft, so it'll be his first NA tournament. I think, right? Well, no, he played in PS2.
I mean, he played PS2, but I don't really count that. Well, kind of.
Where would you put Ace's team? So, I think Ace went from I don't want to carry to I have to do a lot of carrying.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams in here that I'm really kind of struggling to rank. We already talked about UC Kyle when you weren't here.
Yeah, maybe you should wake up earlier.
Sucks to suck, buddy. Yeah, this play-in tournament is going to be absolutely insane. I think there's a lot of teams that have a chance of making it to D1 and a lot of teams that have a chance of just falling a little bit flat. And I honestly have no idea who. I would probably need to look at the bracket first before I could really tell you more about that.
And the crazy thing is signups aren't even done. I still know of at least 1 or 2 teams that are rumored to sign up. So we still have.
Yeah, doesn't Honesty have a?
Yeah, Honesty's got a team. I've heard from a couple other people they might have teams.
There's also a spicy FA team that could all just play together.
That's true.
Lucas, Dave, Estria, Never.
That is a spicy FA team. Let's see if Lucas takes the initiative and brings them together. But you have a team now, Dave? Snap! Oh, and Yannick's in the chat. Welcome, Yannick. Yeah, it's gonna be spicy. I think there's definitely a top and bottom tier of the on this list, but the middle tier is very close together. We're planning a big stream and some social media stuff. I feel like you're lying to me right now. Talk about. Fishy said talk about the history of the BCL. Where would we start talking about the? You came in. You weren't here since the beginning, right? You came in kind of late. I don't think.
Yeah,
Discord.
I joined. Apparently, I was in the disc. Well, apparently, according to WoW, I played like 1 scrim at the end of 2018. I think. I honestly don't remember it. If I did, I think I was playing at my parents' house, and I was on like this really shitty garbage laptop, and I was basically playing with my lap, literally on my lap, and my my mouse on the arm of the chair.
that had to have been rough.
And yeah, I hadn't played in like 6-7 years, so yeah, I don't really count that one as a scrim. I think I basically joined around like March of 2019. I want to say somewhere around there. But yeah, that was when I actually started playing the game.
Hang on a second. Gotta take care of something and questions for the show. Alright. Yeah, let's talk about history, I guess. The first tournament we did was summer, I believe, the Summer Major 2019. Which I think even though it had its ups and downs, was super exciting. That was the only one we had. We had No Way play in. We had Puma play in. I think they were the only Superman members. Slender wasn't around to play in those then, and Jules
I wasn't even
sign
in
up.
Superman at that time.
Yeah, he wasn't. But even then, I don't think he had any intentions of signing up. But and then Jules didn't sign up. But that's the only tournament so far for draft that we've had him play. So those two play. Is this sort of thing you're planning to add? Yeah, it is the sort of thing we're planning to add. But it's a work in progress. I actually have a lot of stuff that I was working on and then started procrastinating again. So props to me. I'm great at this. But anyway. It was hype. There was some questionable decisions. Smith ended up we almost subbed Smith out for Slender. I remember that actually. He almost joined Less Than 3, but I think he said he didn't want to play. So Less Than 3 ended up with somebody else. I can't even remember who they ended up with. Strider, the whole Strider scenario.
Less Than 3 got Flo for Smith.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. He hasn't played it forever. I remember him now.
That was a bit of a rough swap, but I mean, it's better than nobody, I guess.
Yeah, and I remember Strider, Slender was talked about, but we absolutely said no, and then Nils ended up replacing him, but that was also an upgrade. And then, was there any other subs we ended up doing that tournament?
Thank you for the sub, Wolvie.
We appreciate the sub. I don't think there's any other subs we ended up doing. Yeah, I remember Vishy's Droideka on Naboo. That was comical.
Yeah, Vishy's Droideka was the biggest Keck W Droideka that I've ever seen.
That was versus SWC, which turned out to be their only loss that tournament too.
Those two teams played some good matches.
Seven Fighters ended up being the dark horse. I don't know if it was specifically because of the sub, but they ended up making it all the way to finals due to scenarios with SWC. And then TNT had the most tight match of the season, I think, versus SWC, no less, because we had a Hoth tiebreaker.
Yeah, Clone forced me into that. I did not want to do Hoth CTF tiebreaker, but don't play poker with Clone, guys.
I remember. Yeah, he doesn't bluff. There is no bluffing with this man. I remember because we always thought TNT would be super strong, but you guys didn't do that much in groups, and then you just kind of like found your form in playoffs. Suddenly you guys were super good again, and everything that we thought you guys would be came to life, and you almost made it past SWC to face, I think it was 7 Fighters at the time, because they lost to BR.
Yeah, we got knocked out by 7 Fighters. I remember, or no, we didn't get.
You got knocked out by SWC.
We got knocked out of the top bracket by 7 Fighters.
Oh, okay.
That was when Villain was. We played, I think, 3 maps with Vader, or 2 maps with Vader, or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then Villain got home from work and like hopped on, and he was like basically dead, tired, and like so it was just an awkward scenario. But it is what it is.
Villain was still working at Starbucks back then.
Interesting.
Strider like the old man. If you mean like the old player, yes. I don't know what you mean by old man.
He is an old man.
From there, we didn't do too much, I think, till next year. Next year was when we got 3v3 Season League 1. Whoa. 3v3 League Season 1. There we go. And 20 Major. Right? Yeah.
I believe so.
3v3 League Season 1 basically became Super Mad versus Lads. Which everybody should know. Super Mad, it was Puma, Jules, Slender, and No Way, and then Lads was Runaway, Spitz, Nils, and what's their fourth? Did they have a fourth, or was it just those 3? I don't think they had a fourth for that tournament. I think it was just those 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some pretty insane matches from those 2. We got some of our best clips from those 2 guys, those 2 teams facing off. And then we had DCL. DCL only lasted a tournament, unfortunately.
Yeah, my teammates just wanted to retire after playing with me.
Yeah, suddenly they just imploded, and the only connection we can make is they played with Dubs.
I mean, it happened after they were playing with me. You know, they realized that they can't be on my team all the time, and they were like, "Well, I might as well just retire then." So,
I mean, you guys could have just kept going. Was there like contractual issues or something? Did somebody want too much
mm,
money? Did you have to pay legit too much to keep him?
yeah, legit, it's a very expensive commodity.
But
I mean,
somehow,
there were a few times where I had thought about trying to bring back DCL, but I don't know, just never seemed like the right time.
if Zach would get motivated again, DCL would definitely be something to see. Stay the front on Netflix. I don't think it will be on Netflix. We might get it on Spotify. I've been thinking about looking into that. But that's a ways away from now. What is DCL? DCL is Diamonds Can't Lose. They only played for one season, and it was Doves, Legit, Clone, and did you guys have Sparks? No,
We
Sparks
had
was on your.
Sparks. Yeah, we had Sparks at the start of the tournament because he couldn't find a team, and then he found a team, so we dropped him. And then we had Little Monster on as a sub at one point, but he never actually played. So it was us three playing every match.
Thank you, Wolvie.
OG DCL had Londo for that like mini weekend
EBC thing.
tournament that EBC hosted.
I remember that.
Yep.
And then for Division 2, I don't even remember. I do remember we upset Supermat 2 in the play-in bracket, Team Idiot. We upset Supermat 2 in the play-in bracket, and then Supermat 2 knocked Vorpal down into Division 2. I remember that. That was a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was them and NA All-Stars that ended up kind of fighting in Division 2 for that top spot. I think NA All-Stars ended up getting out of relegations first, but Vorpal 2 won the division. I can't remember.
I think during one of the matches, the one match I think All Stars beat them. I think they didn't have Seth playing, so I think that was the big thing. I don't quite remember exactly.
But yeah, that was interesting scenario. And then Supermad 2 is actually the fourth best team in Division 1 or something like that. And then Nuts just decided he didn't want to play anymore. He didn't even form his team because his team at the time was going to look for a fourth, and then they decided not to.
Yeah, they got third place in the regular season, and they're supposed to play us in playoffs. And then they just decided Nuts decided that his team didn't want to play anymore.
Yeah, they didn't even form his team. I remember that.
Yeah, Timo and Whitehawk were quite confused.
Yeah.
And eventually they couldn't find one, so they just dropped.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not the first time that Nuts has just pulled out of a tournament. So yeah.
I think that was the first for BCL that he ever pulled out because he never played in any of the others.
Yeah.
But since then he has a bit of a streak, yes. And then we ended up getting relegated because we lost to NA All Stars by one cap. I remember because Vishy was shit talking NA All Stars, and then Shay fought back after they won by a cap.
Yeah, that was an insanely intense match. That was really good. I think that double stop from Ven right at the end was one of the most hyped plays of the whole league. It's kind of unfortunate for you guys, but it was a big place. It was crazy to cast. I think I was casting with Taylor, right? At the time.
Maybe I don't remember if Taylor was around then. I know he was around for the major, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Big Vishy tried to that rush classic Vishal.
Typical.
Guys, and that's why you guys lost.
Guys, while you're in chat, don't spam the questions channel, please. Questions are for questions. They're not here to banter and joke around. Thank you. So like is a. Yeah, we that's what BCL is. BCL is, I guess you could say it's mostly an A, even though we have a ton of EU players, but it's mostly just us trying to run a competitive scene for Battlefront 2005. 2003, I think, is Battlefront 1.
That was 2004, I think. I'm pretty sure Battlefront 1 was 2004. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
That's
there
how
you go.
quickly they rushed out Battlefront 2.
Yeah, and
And it shows.
yeah, it gave us this broken game that we all really enjoy playing.
It's actually funny how much stuff in Battlefront 2 is just unfinished in like the mod tool stuff.
Oh,
Like
really?
there's multiple maps that have TDM mode. There's multiple maps that have like Mustafar has a one flag mode in the mod tools. Coruscant has a one flag mode. Utapau actually has a two flag mode, which
I think
if you saw where the flag zones are, you would literally shoot yourself in the head because it would literally be uncappable.
Where are they at? Where are they at? Well, I can imagine one of the flag zones is probably in that building on top of ramp.
Yes, and the other one's in the hangar. So
we think it's a
so
stalemate now.
yeah, it's already hard to cross the map once. Good luck trying to cross the map twice.
Where does the flag spawn in Musty One flag?
Right in mid.
That'd be kind of
And in Mos Eisley has one flag too, which I think actually would be pretty fun. I think Mustafar one flag would not be good, honestly, because once you grab the flag, there's really nowhere that you can go. You're just kind of ramming into a choke point over and over again.
I think Mustafar would be really fast paced on one flag because it's just in the center of the map. You're not pushing from one side of the map to the other.
But my problem with Mustafar one flag would be just one team gets flag control and the other team just camps.
Yeah, that's true. You are right. Where does
Moss one flag is like right outside of Four Corners, by what Fluffy used to call dildo.
I wonder if we.
It's at the perfect block point.
Yeah, I wonder if we moved it. Oh well, I think no matter what you do, one faction is going to spawn closer to it than the other. Because right now Rebels would spawn right on top of it, basically.
I would definitely be down to play or to test Mos Eisley.
I think it's false that one flag is worse than two flag in general. I think that there's certain maps that are much better one flag than they ever would be two flag.
I think he means the mode like as a whole. Like he just prefers. Like I definitely prefer two flag over one flag. I think.
Is there a two flag mode for Tantive?
No.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, we tried two flag like a couple times on the shield maps. I need to update those. I've been meaning to do that for a very long time, but it's just never. Like J-Man put doors back on all the shield maps. I think there's some. Like I think Death Star, there's some stuff that if we released it back with the doors and all the invisible wall fixes, there's some good stuff we can do there, but I just need to actually get around to it.
Invisible wall fixes will be a hot topic for a while, given how hot of a topic Coruscant is.
The problem with Coruscant is it's actually so hard to fix some of those invisible walls because
it's not the invisible walls fixed that's the problem. It's everybody says there's no cover now, which I don't think is the case, but you actually just have to use the pillars as opposed to, hey, there's an invisible wall halfway outside the pillar, I can peek like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more people would be standing in a spot before, and now if they stand in that same spot, they'll get shot, and they just kind of have to adjust to that.
Yeah, it's all.
I definitely think there's still enough cover on the map.
Yeah, it's all part of the change effect. Zemo, there's a channel for this, buddy. we're just talking right now. I appreciate your questions, but we have a channel in Discord so you can ask them.
Yeah, I think the biggest change for Coruscant patched is the invisible wall that's not in library. That's more in Conquest.
By the Medroid, you mean?
Yeah, the one where you like. There was a time in Conquest I was because we were doing CW Conquest and I was playing Magna and I went to like swap off to heal, and it just decided to make me shoot right when I swapped, and I just killed myself on the invisible wall because my green gun shot the invisible wall and I just blew up.
Nice, good job.
So fun stuff. Gotta love those random floating walls.
Okay, since Zemo's on mobile, I think we can entertain this one because I was actually going to talk about it anyway. Have you guys noticed a change in mindsets and mental performance since the last State of the Front? That's a person by person thing because I actually think some people have regressed, but I think there has been some improvement. I think Baron specifically seems like he's been a lot better since it. Um, but I think that for the majority, it's either the same or they've gotten worse. Like for the most part. But Baron himself has been playing really well, and I hear he's not tilting near as much. So I think it definitely helped him.
Yeah, Jamin, I usually roll. The reason I didn't is because there's nobody around me. So I was like, well, I don't need to roll or jump this time. And yeah, that was the end of me.
I also want to appreciate the cheer from Gimbo. Thank you. Yeah, I think that Baron's definitely done really well. I think that for the most part, though, it's kind of stayed the same when people have regressed. Which I mean, there's not that a whole lot that you can do about that. I would mention myself, but I'm not conceited. I guess I don't know. I think I've made improvements, but that's for the outside to decide. Wait till I play
Yeah,
on London again.
it's definitely hard to just listen to a stay the front once and then just change your behavior like the next day. It's not something that's going to happen that quickly.
Yeah, and I
But
to address like Dubs just said, Zemo, it's not something that's going to happen fast. And on top of that, that's on the person still. We can talk about it all the time, and people can say they agree with it, but you have to like actually do it in your head, which is something I realized. I can talk about how I'm going to improve my mindset and not tilt, but if I don't do it, I'm going to be the same person. Which it took something like Smith to make me realize that, but yeah, you have to do it yourself. You can't have somebody do it for you.
you have to come into every game thinking one thing I'm going to focus on extra hard is not tilting.
I mean,
that takes a lot of practice.
And if you're taking good examples, I think Doves himself has had kind of a rough week watching scrims and streams and playing with him, and I don't think he's tilted once. So, at least verbally, he might be tilting mentally, but
I do what I can. But yeah, I had up until that last rank scrim I played, I was playing awful. So I was glad that I actually started playing well in those last 3 maps. That was nice for a change.
bit of a,
So
bit
I've
of a
been in
rebound.
bit of a slump, but I've had a few slumps before, and you just gotta keep going.
Pro Slayer, I see what you said in questions. I'll talk to you more about it at some point. It's still like a work in progress on this. We need to be more consistent, first of all, with the show for sure. Yeah. Well, let's see. We were talking about history. We kind of got off track. The next thing up was the 2020 Summer Major, which I think was executed much better and ran much better. I think we messed up in the rankings. It was a little top to bottom heavy, but
I part of that, like, I know that Bester definitely played really well, and I want to give a lot of credit to him for just having an insane performance. Like, they played a lot of NG maps, like NG Conquest maps, which you don't consider Bester's strength, and he was on Sev's team.
Instagibbers, yeah.
Instagibbers, yeah. And I mean, he played really well on like modes and maps that people probably wouldn't have expected him to. Like, those aren't his strong suits, so. He was playing really well. Also, Sev hit a level during that tournament that I don't think we've ever really seen before. So that was also kind of insane.
I think Sev went from, I don't want to say it was demotivation, but he seemed to not care for a while. Like during 3v3 League Season 1, I think after the 2019 Major, which I had spoken to him, he seemed to kind of have a bit of a mental boom. Maybe not terrible, but he definitely seemed like not the normal Sev, which regardless of why he was clinical and really like just insane. And then 2020 something changed and they came back. His motivation was there and he was playing just out of his mind. And he's done that since. I think he's kept on a really big tear, at least in NA. So it's good.
Yeah, it's hard to find a map where he's not like played insanely well. Yeah, like the consistency is really the thing. Like, you've seen every other top player have bad maps, but he just doesn't even have like a bad map. So
I mean, he has a was it an 8-game win streak or a 10-game win streak in our current system of ranked scrims, and I don't think he lost before that either. After the summer major, so
No, he definitely lost. I think J-Man farmed him, and I think Clone farmed him. I think Clone beat him 3 times in one day in the old system, I think. Do you remember that? Oh, yeah, Vichy said he lost 3 in a row.
oh yeah,
Maybe,
that's
I don't
right.
know
He
if it was
was
all
he
in
was
one
saying
day.
he was saying Clone and J-Man were his kryptonite or something like that. I remember.
J-Man, that's where J-Man got the nickname of the Champ Destroyer. Classic J-Man.
Ovi and Lucas having a bit of interaction. Beyond the hype, or believe the hype went from believe the hype to pray
Don't
for
even
the
type.
hype. Yeah, pray for the hype or something. I don't know. I think credit is where credit is due. Che made the best of a bad situation. I think Villain did too. They both had decent tournaments despite how terrible that team ended up going with Bomber and yeah, we had to give them a sub. I remember that because Taylor subbed in or ended up subbing in.
Yeah, that was like Taylor just started playing PC too, so yeah, that was they almost beat BDS in that match, which would have been insane actually.
Would have been a massive upset. I think NYC experts, the all EU team was like a improving over time almost. They did really bad for the first 2 matches. They got decent, and then they made a really big losers bracket run. I think until they met you, right? They ran into 6 AM and lost. I think.
Yeah, they lost to us. I mean, they did well in their first match against who's it called?
Effortless, actually.
Slender, yeah, Effortless.
That went to game 5, if I remember right.
Yeah, that went to OT, and I think they lost by like 1 cap where Ace had a big place.
Yeah, Ace subbed in and then just absolutely popped off. That was.
But Ace was bronze.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, he literally was bronze at the time. Not like aim wise, but just in terms of like if he was on the team, like you would have had to kind of rate him bronze. But yeah,
and then
he did well in that match.
I think the best match of that tournament was definitely Effortless versus 6AM. You've been in the best match of the tournament 2 times in a row in the major.
I do what I can.
But that was an insane match.
Yeah, I mean every map was just so. I mean, even in this this current VHF tournament, I think we're seeing also a lot of really insane matches. It's like sometimes I want to call that match like one of the greatest like tournament matches of all time, but I don't know. There's so many good matches out there too. It's also so funny that literally Raptor and Herbans missed first spawn during that match.
Yeah,
because they were typing out our Pepsi meme thing.
Then yeah, you have a history with that too, because then during the kneel before the crown match for me, I walked off the second rim bar.
True. Big knee.
Well, I remember because we were like, we're gonna play kind of slow. Let me cap 2. I'll swap to engine. And I was like, we're going real slow.
Yeah, my team just wants me to lose apparently, but I don't know. I do what I can.
Yeah, even though it ended up being kind of top to bottom heavy, it was still a great tournament. It was executed really well, and I don't think we had the issues with subs and stuff. I feel like I just strafed to line of shut. This man just spins in circles and gets 4Ks. Unreal. Ace,
I mean, it's kind of true.
Ace, if you're here, you have a simp. It's not wrong, no. Ace is one of the fastest improving players we've had, if not the fastest improving player we've had to date. He came back, played in a tournament, and suddenly was just godlike.
Yeah, I definitely think he'd probably be number 1 in terms of improvement category. I mean, to be fair, he did play back in the Games by Days, so a lot of that is kind of rest. But
yeah, but he was a pub player, so I think he still had to get acclimated to playing in comp. Which is a different scenario where you're kind of just, it's always sweat. You're not having fun at any moment. If you
That's an interesting thing we can briefly talk about is Ace's team's bringing 2 pub players. Like, how do we feel about pub players moving to the competitive scene? Because Ace's team, he's got 2 pub players who are trying to play competitive for the first time. So that's going to be something that they're going to have to tackle.
I've heard good things about Jimmy. Definitely have heard good things about Jimmy. I think Dave just came back to the game, so that's going to be interesting. Um, but yeah, I think it's the biggest thing for me. I think I always watch when I see players returning that were pub players or they didn't play during our day. His awareness is like so much bigger than it used to be. Like being aware of where people are, where people can come from, checking the flag as you spawn on like Mos Eisley to make sure they didn't come around arena and stuff like that. I don't. If it seems like players never did that, and it never was a thing. And I think that's like the biggest difference between then and now is you have to be aware of where people are coming from and what their plans are. You can't just
Hmm.
frag out, if you will, or go for kills.
Yeah, it's also like playing in pubs. There'll be just so many free kills available to you. Whether it's you're just kind of like coming in as a third party, or you're just playing against someone who's really new to the game. It's just there's always free kills. There's always ways to make your KD kind of look good, and then in matches, it's everybody can play. Everybody's focusing. Everyone's working hard, and there's no real free kills available in scrims and stuff like that. So you have to work for every kill, and if you're not used to that kind of thing, then I think those players they really get a bit of a shock like the first time they play with us. Even if you go like you can definitely watch them and say, yeah, this guy's got good aim. He knows how to fight. He knows how to like throw debts and stuff really well. Um, I think their team's going to struggle. A lot of people like have motivation issues with that. So I don't know
Yeah,
if Dave and Jimmy are gonna have those. I hope that they don't. I hope that they enjoy this kind of mode, but I definitely could see it being a thing.
yeah, I think it's happened quite a bit with players coming back and then they realize how hard we play the game and they don't want to do it. Not only is it just like a issue with getting better at the game, it's kind of mentally draining to have to try and try your hardest for upwards of an hour, uh, just doing your best to get kills and play well. Like I think another thing that's really different between pubs and scrims and matches is using the environment at your disposal. When Ryan is playing well, that guy is the most insane player at peeking around objects. That guy, he knows where to aim when he's coming out from behind the object, and he just gives you like half a second to hit you, or he's going to shoot you and uh, hit him. I mean, and I think that's another thing that players don't really do a lot is use the environment around them, and that can bite them in the butt too.
Because third person, I mean, you've got that viewpoint where you can see them and they can't see you, and you got to use that to your advantage. I mean, they've got the mini map; they can kind of tell your general location, but
I think
um,
another thing that we don't in general talk about a lot is perspective. It exists in every game. It's very prevalent in third-person games, but people talk about getting shot about around walls and stuff, and that's just because from his perspective, he can see you, even though it looks like from your point of view, you can't be seen. It exists in
mhm.
every game, and it's actually kind of an insane thing to think about. You have to make sure that you are behind the object because from his angle, he might see you better than you see him. Uh, but I hear a lot of people talk about that. He hit me around the wall. Well, he probably had an angle that you were much more visible than you thought. So
Yeah, or you just clipped like your fucking elbow
yeah,
peeking out.
yeah,
And like on your screen, it doesn't really look like your elbow's peeking out, but it just barely is. And that's definitely something that takes a little bit of getting used to.
So 2020 was, we talked about that. We got 3v3 League Season 2. For lack of a better term, the SWC show.
Yeah.
It pretty much. Division 2 was super competitive. That was also, it ended up being the Hot Soup show, but not for lack of competitive moments. We also had the Pookie Gamer moment, TM on Balmora. I don't remember versus which team, but he had like 7 or 8 kills in a row.
That's where the Pookie Player of the Game, the most prestigious award in all Battlefront, was coined, I believe, right?
Yep.
During that season.
Yep, it was. When Pookie came in, he started giving Pookie Player the match. And it was the most prestigious award that you can ever earn in the BCL. And he gives
We
it.
probably should have been keeping track of them,
Yeah,
considering how
honestly, we probably should have.
prestigious they are.
I say always getting the short end of the stick. I think there was a super close match between KJC and SA that got decided because Londo's PC like lit on fire, right?
Yeah, that was really rough.
Um, yeah, that was unfortunate. I think there was a lot of very close matches in Division Two, though. That was pretty fun to watch between KJC, Hot Soup, and even SA. Which SA had ice that season.
That's when Ice was playing really insane that tournament. He's going God mode. Respect.
Then we had the MM versus Moyne playoff match. That was spicy. Not so much in a sense it was like close. I mean, it was close, but it was close because you guys were just trading on servers.
Yeah,
3 on one server, 3 on the other.
It's kind of hard for me to like call that like a really good match. Like in terms of score, like other than the last map, every map was a blowout, right?
Yeah.
The last two maps, or last two rounds, I want to say. That's always been something that pissed me off about Battlefront. I want to say the last map, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Is it 2 maps or 4 maps? Like, do you say, right? Because we're actually playing 4 sides, but it's only 2 maps.
I always say last map because it's still a map in itself. Like you're still playing 15 minutes regardless of side switch.
Yeah, I just never know what people mean when they say last map. But yeah, I mean, yeah, first 4 rounds were just insane blowouts, and then we tried to get the tiebreaker to be Mustafar CW instead of GCW, and then that was just a blowout again, and then we went back into
it
CW.
was double OT on GCW and then triple was CW, if I remember right. Or was it only
I think
one OT?
It was only 2 total.
Okay. But yeah, that was, and then you guys finally got a cap on their side, and that pretty much decided the match from that point on. That was back when Slang was playing this game heavy. We had 11 playing it heavy. Dark Rider still plays it heavy, but I think 11's disappeared, and Slang, he's back, but I don't think he's really that interested in playing competitively right now.
And Svenny's actually still playing a lot on BHF, I think.
Yeah, he's BFH.
Yes, he's I always say it wrong. Don't worry about it.
He's on Y though, which I think Y though has been doing pretty well for themselves overall.
They've surpassed people's expectations both times, I think. So they've tied both matches, I believe. Which isn't amazing, but
which credit to Quab. He said if you sleep on this team at your own peril or something like that. Proving it right. They're tying every match so far. Speaking of BFH, we got some matches today. We have PWA versus KBTC, which PWA is currently 2-0, KBTC is 0-2, and then we have.
Are they 0-1?
Oh yeah, we were their first match, 0-1. Okay, and then the other one is Weebs of the Jedi Council versus
DFR.
Yeah. Which I think both are 1-0, right? Or is no? WJC's 1-1.
And DFR is 0-1, I think.
Oh yeah, they lost to PWA. Spoiler alert. So DFR is looking for a win, and so is KBTC. KBTC lost to us 3-1, if I remember right. Yeah, because they won last map. We were going for the 4-0, and then we played Moss Whiteside like a pub and just kind of got shit on. But yeah, so KBTC is looking to bounce back, and then DFR is also looking for it. But PWA is looking to continue their tear of 1 matches, even though I think DFR was decided by 1 or 2 flags, right? It was damn close.
Yeah, there's been so many close matches this tournament, so I think we'll get to see a few more today, hopefully.
And WJC also I think they didn't have their top lineup versus PWA, and they still put up a good fight. It was a 3-1 win, which one of their win was like in 2.5 minutes with Never going. I think it was like 7-2 or 8-1, something like that.
I think it was 6-1.
But he just popped off. So looking forward to those. Any predictions, Dubs, at all?
Let me look at it real quick.
I don't know lineups. Yoda has stolen my job as overlay maker, so he's the one that knows. He's the one that knows lineups. Oh, actually, yeah, I do. I know some lineups. Let me go look here.
DFR versus WJC. I think will be DFR. I think they're gonna win that one. KBTC versus PWA. I'm gonna call KBTC. I believe in Kevin.
I believe in Kevin too. Kind of bit me in the butt a couple times, but I believe in him. Depends on his motivation. Yeah, you guys see who I've been talking to. How's it going? But I think DFR has Baron today, if I was told correctly. So
Well, then that's for sure they win.
yeah, Baron Red's gonna pop off.
Absolutely. In the words of our RWS.
WJC will be our
Absolutely.
worst lineup as I'm not playing. That is 100% correct, Dave. You make that team. I can't believe they're not playing with you. Angie was so hard to play against on Dago. So hard to play against. Yeah, I'll believe in Kevin, even though I think it's going to be really close. I hope to God we get to see a sniper map. I want to see Kevin and Jules go at it on a sniper map. I want to see those guys face off. I hope we get one of those, and then why am I forgetting? I'll believe in WJC. I like DFR though, for the most part. I like Ven and Baron. I don't know who I want to win there. I like both teams for the most part. There's a couple people I don't like on DFR, but that's okay. Urbans isn't playing today, Lucas. What are you talking about? There's no belief to be had here.
He just believes in Urbans.
Okay.
Just believes in him.
Absolute belief.
Doesn't matter if he's playing or not. I believe in him.
Sparks first person sniper app. Imagine if you could see first person from spectate POV.
That'd be kind of pog.
I feel like you'd be kind of nauseous following Sparks trying to shoot darkies.
Would you rather spectate someone who's using a controller or someone who's in first person?
Oh, 100% somebody in first person. Controller is so hard to follow on PC, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first person is, I believe you can do that. I think you have to mod it, but I believe you can force it. I don't know that for a fact, but we've talked about that because we wanted to do like first person tournaments for fun, which has not been decided, but I imagine you could if you really wanted to put in it. Have you ever seen somebody in first person? Have you ever seen somebody in first person like throw deads or something? He kind of just like waves his hand in the air and the dead just appears and floats. It's
kind of just funny how low you look to the ground. Like you look like you're looking from your fucking kneecaps.
It's just the entire first person view is comical. It's funny. Looks definitely like a 2005 game at that point. If it didn't before. Wolvie has a question for you, Dubs.
Some rice with some. I think it's beef.
You think it's beef?
Well, yeah.
You don't know what meat you're eating?
Might be pork.
I can tell you Dubs made it, Wolvie. He just doesn't know.
No, my mom made it. I went to my parents on Friday.
Oh, okay.
That's why I usually don't, or that's why I'm usually away on Fridays. Because I go to my parents' house pretty much every Friday.
I used to go every Sunday, and then they moved far away. Sag.
Damn, Wolvie. All right.
That's a terrible mother. Wait.
I thought Canadians were nice.
Please mute if you're gonna eat. Let's see what else do we talk about? MM made it to the finals of SWC. That wasn't much to watch. MM kind of got plastered. I mean, it was 17-5 in flags. There was that 1v3 you had on Javas. That was pretty pog.
Yeah, that was insane. but little too late.
Yeah.
Too little. Yes. Actually, like fun fact, because like we all know that Slender joined that team at the last second, right? Kind
Yeah.
of like last day, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
We actually scrimmed their team without Slender once, and we won by 1 cap. Now it wasn't on maps where like they would have probably picked against us. Like they were practicing for Moyne. Like we were playing Balmora and Necro, but I think it would have been really interesting that tournament if Slender had never done that last second join.
Yeah.
I think the 3 teams of Moyne, Snuggly, and MM really had like a solid chance. I think with Slender join, it just kind of blew the competition out of the water.
Honestly,
But it is what it is.
Honestly, we should probably kick that bot out of the Discord. We don't need it. I'll do it after the show if nobody does it right now. If you're spamming Free Agents channel, by the way, there will be hell to pay anybody that's in chat. Don't be spamming it. For relegations, Idiot I think ended up making it out. They went all the way through. They had to go through Hot Soup. Highness made it out, so there was no difference in teams. The Division 1 and Division 2 that season stayed the same. There was nobody that got relegated, which I think was definitely the case when we looked at it from our rankings point of view. It was definitely there was Division 1 teams and Division 2 teams. I think it's a little less clear here outside the top teams and the bottom teams. I think the middle is a little bit harder to call, at least right now. If there's more signups before then, that might not be the case. Yes, we know Moyne asked you to play with them. You still went to Snuggly Wuggly. Hush you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you hadn't played, I think it would have been really, really close. Like, I'm not blaming you for joining a team. I just think, like, if you hadn't played, it would have been top 3 teams would have been really insanely close.
I see what's going on now with the translate bot. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went from being like everybody thought would be a spicy tournament to, well, there's a clear winner. It's just whoever's going to take second. Yeah.
Which it kind of sucks when a tournament ends up like that, but it's also, I mean, there were a lot of good matches during the tournament, so
there was
I
a lot
think
of matches.
I think it's fine. I think this next 3v3 league is going to be probably one of the closest that we've ever seen, because I think the talent's like really spread out. Other than maybe the top 2 teams seem pretty stacked. But even then, I think Highness. I don't think they'll win, but I think they can give them a good run for their money.
They could play underdog. It'd be interesting to see if they manage to upset even one of them. Like you upset in playoffs, and you go from being. And
I think in D2, there's going to be so many insane matches.
Yeah, there's a lot of spicy teams. I'm hoping Blade plays this season because Blade's actually kind of nuts.
Yeah, I think he's also trying to import a map from Overwatch. So, or not Overwatch.
Valorant,
what's
I
the
think.
game called? Valorant. Yes,
Valorant,
I get those 2 mixed up a lot.
I don't know which exactly, but
Valorant. So
he's trying to import
fun.
Haven. That's interesting.
Yeah, he found it's hard to import right from Valorant, so he found a map on the Steam Workshop for CS:GO.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone had imported it into CS:GO, and then he just imported it into Battlefront. It still has a long way to go, but he's got some objects in the game working, so it'll be really cool.
COD? That would be an interesting map to play too. That would be an interesting map.
Is that a newer map or an older COD map?
It's newer. That would
the newer maps you probably aren't going to be able to import.
Important summit to SW. Important.
Okay. Important.
You okay?
SWBF2 summit. I don't know what map that is.
Yeah, I don't either. But no bully, please. All right, no bully, Che. Another thing I thought about talking about, would it be, we should try, I think at some point would be kind of worth trying a weekend tournament. Might be a less of a turnout, but it might be kind of interesting to do. I think we'll wait till after 3v3 league season and summer major, but I think it'd be kind of spicy to do something like that because I think EBCs was fairly successful, and I think we can do it as well. And I think that it might be a bit more fun than trying to do month-long events.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I did that one Rocket 1v1 thing that I hosted that one time, which was pretty fun, but I was just insanely drained because I was basically the only one doing casting and all the adminning for that. So I literally casted, played, streamed for like 6 hours straight, and then played the finals. So that was a lot of fun. Could barely keep my eyes open, but yeah, maybe if we all get together and organize something, it could be really fun. Like, I think if we did like a sniper only weekend tournament, that would be really fun. The 2v2 rockets that we did, it's actually been insanely hard to score, so I'm kind of less confident about like would a rocket only tournament, like, it'd be fun for sure, but if every map's going like 15 minutes and nobody can score, it might kind of kill the hype a bit.
No, I want this to be kind of like competitive. So sniper only would be good. Sniper only CTF, probably like 3v3 or something. But I want
Dodgeball.
But I want this to be like kind of a competitive tournament.
Oh.
When we do like a weekend tournament, because I think we could definitely pull it off. Whose video is this in the background currently? We'll have to take a look at it. Oh.
The problem, like, we were gonna have a dodgeball event, but then we just had so many other like actual Battlefront events that we just never got around to it.
Good question, Dave. I'm looking for it. Give me a minute. His last breath, SWBF2 quad tag by Flashy. Yeah, I'm talking about the video before, Dave. It's true. You made a dodgeball map and then never touched it again. Why'd you do? What happened with that?
That was just because. That was just because there's so much going on. I wanted to do a tournament like that, but
next community event? Question mark.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. There's also that Lego map that I really wanted to do. I don't know if the guy ever finished it though. He actually just left the Discord not that long ago, so I don't know if we'll get that done.
Should have an Ewok tourney mod up. I have never played an Ewok tourney. You guys can play it if you want. Never touching that. There is no way.
Yeah, that would be the well. You could mod the Ewoks so that they had better turn speed and better movement speed, which I think would help your wrist a lot. Because if you've ever played the Ewoks for a certain amount of time, it'll literally hurt your hands and your wrists because you have to turn so fucking hard. But
I'm
yeah,
definitely not playing. I would murder my
they're
already
kind
bad
of a
hands.
meme. You could meme Ewoks versus Gamorreans. It'd be pretty fun.
I already play with hand pain basically every day. I don't need to make it worse.
We'll just make them so they can, if you just slightly turn the mouse, you just do like 5 360s.
That would no.
Wampas versus Gamorreans.
I feel like Wampas would win almost every time, wouldn't they? Or has this been done?
This definitely hasn't been done.
Because I feel like Wampas have the ground pound. But
I know Seville in the HA Seville, not Sev,
yeah.
was working on something like that before he left. So it looked kind of fun. It was pretty far from completed, but well, not pretty far, but it wasn't close, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Wampas would be pretty fun. They're kind of OP.
Yeah, their ground pound's ridiculous. And then the fact they have a sprint.
But Gamorreans have a giant fucking axe.
Alright, I'm removing Vishy from staff. If he just wants to pub and put Hoff Hunt in, he can go somewhere else.
True.
2v2 CTF. We kind of just talked about that. It was really hard to score. 50 minutes and no flags doesn't seem that interesting.
It wouldn't be. Yeah, like pretty much every map that we've done went to 15 minutes, but there's definitely you'd have to have a very small map pool. Maybe give like I don't know. It'd be kind of fun, I think, if it was a mini tournament, but it might get old after a little bit.
Yeah, probably. Death Star CT at 15 flags, no tournament.
I would rather just shoot myself in the head.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and call suicide hotline because they're gonna need to call the police.
Yeah, I will also let you guys cap just like Baird.
Yeah. Or that. One of the two.
I will kill everybody except for the flag carrier.
Yeah.
I'll let the flag carrier run by and I'll just focus on my KD on the other three.
Because you have to do it complicated like Wolvie. You can't go one route here. Oh no, we all spawned up. Oh well. Infantry only? Are you meaning like the regular trooper? That might be kind of fun, actually.
Ooh. Maybe SBD only.
But we could buff the regular troopers like J-Man did, where they have no variation in their spray, and we could just watch people laser each other.
Yeah. I tried to make a mod where the what's it called? The speed of the shots. What am I thinking? I'm AFK right now, brain AFK.
Yeah, I can tell.
Like how fast they shoot was changed, but it doesn't work server side. You'd have to be a download.
Hantiv only bracket, no limit on flag caps, 10-minute maps. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of fun.
Very fast paced. Probably a lot of flag caps.
J-Man for president.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put him on staff. He can take Vichy's place.
Well, I think there a hard limit on Steam with 15 or no?
15. What do you mean, like caps?
Flag caps. Yeah.
I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't know exactly. I've never like tried to test how high you can go in flag caps. I wonder what happens if you set the number to 0.
You just explode. You load into the map and you just explode. The game doesn't know what to do.
We have distance enabled tournament. We had plenty of those, Dave. You've had plenty of those over the years. I don't think people are gonna go for that one.
The distance lag enabled tournament makes the rocket more viable on big maps.
True.
That's why Dave wants it.
Controller only? That would be super hard to enforce. I'm not opposed to that. That'd be kind of fun, but that'd be super hard to like enforce.
I would play on mouse and keyboard and just try to move my mouse in a really weird way to make it look like I'm using a controller.
Do we have a cool topic here?
We were talking about which Super Mad member we should ban next. A lot of votes for Puma.
Yeah, we've already been live for an hour, Toby. We talked about kind of the history of the BCL and upcoming BFH matches and stuff. We're just kind of talking about current state of affairs. I believe.
Yeah, I think there's probably we haven't touched the like questions for show channel that much, right?
No, we haven't touched that yet. Super Mad members are volunteering themselves to be banned.
Because we do have to finish that before 4:15, right? Is it when their match is?
4:15 Eastern, yeah. So we won't go too much longer. I didn't think this would be that long of a show. We just kind of wanted to, especially since it's Easter, so there's people that are missing anyway from being here. Yeah, we can go ahead and start talking about questions. I think questions will take another 30 minutes or so, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, it always depends on the question. Some of them just go really long, so I wanted to get those. Make sure they're
Vichy's
done.
first question. I don't. Oh, thank you, Stormy. Thank you for that.
A 3-month streak. That's kind of pog. It's insanely pog, actually.
Why don't we talk about the Jedi or modding community? Because we're not part of those community. I don't know what to tell you there.
we don't interact with them too much.
Yeah, I mean we're BCL. We're not OSBF2 or the modding community.
I've made posts about the the OSBF, like the Jedi communities, the tournaments, but they just get KW reactions.
Yep.
So I don't think anyone here is really interested in that. It's actually pretty fun if you get into it, but it is you're gonna get smacked up at the start.
Dubs is
So.
1-0, by the way.
True.
Because we're not part of those communities. This show is not for the Jedi or the modding community. This show is for our communities, like the infantry community. I'm not here to have OSBF2. Nobody here is here for OSBF2. If we brought OSBF2 players on, probably a good chunk of the viewers we have here don't watch. So, and yeah, the modding community is probably the most toxic to us out of those.
I think they've actually gotten a lot better. They're a lot of the toxic players have been kicked.
Okay.
I think they've made some improvements there.
What's the latest in the pub community? Who are the hottest prospects? J-Man mentioned impending. Is it an alias? I don't know. I don't pub.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I actually like loaded to pub.
Yeah, usually
the last 2 times was just to test skins. I stay there for 5 minutes, test my skins, and then leave.
Yeah, I think the last time I was in a pub too was to test overlays for spectate. What maps could you have a Conquest of Tanks tournament on? Probably bigger ones.
Geonosis.
Wow, the bias towards the competitive against pub. You know what, Yoda? Screw you. You take my job with overlays, and now you're saying you know what? Meh.
I think actually my Guido with tanks on is better because you can kind of break out when you're stuck. You actually can get in a tank and drive to a CP. Geonosis with tanks on was awful. I used to play that all the time on JBA. You just get farmed by a spider walker across the map because that laser weapon is just fucking OP. You literally just get farmed by that thing across the map, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's so stupid.
Toby is on the disagreement.
I didn't say it sucks. Well, did I say it sucks?
Yes, you did.
I just mean the spider walker is fucking broken. Just kill the tank. True.
Well, legit.
Tell that to...
No, legit is not a part of this show. I don't even think legit is awake right now. So,
he's awake.
Is he?
Yes, I asked him if I could kick the translator bot, and it's gone now.
Oh. Well, okay then.
Rib that guy.
BF1 tank farming was even more fucked up. I didn't even play... Well, in BF1, I was a very young kid who was just running around playing Star Wars. I was just immersed in Star Wars. But yeah,
those were the days.
Yeah, we can talk about questions a little bit now. I don't know what Vishy's trying to say here. Some people did apparently. But why is Gamora?
I have no fucking clue what that means. Isn't Gamora the green bitch from what's it called? Avengers?
I think so. I think it's the one that Thanos yeets off the cliff.
I believe so. More like bye is Gamora, cause she dead. So.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
why is Balmora? That's the real question.
A lot of people ask that question. That's just probably one of the most controversial maps in the map pool currently. But yeah. Then we have Pookie. He's just here to say hi. Everybody say hi to Pookie.
Hello, Pookie. I hope you have a blessed Sunday, Pookie.
Stud Ash 2 is on today. Truth is, nobody's on today. You can tell now. It's just us.
And we've got Wolvie's actual questions.
Yeah, Wolvie has some spicy questions. We got some good ones here. All right. Question 1. What's the best thing a teammate A can do for teammate B when teammate B is tilting?
So how do you help your team when they're tilting?
Yes, basically.
That's always a hard one. Yeah, just tell them to calm down. It usually works.
I don't know. My experience
I
telling people to calm down doesn't work that well.
I think you just kind of. I mean, it also kind of depends on the player. Like some people just need you to say like, all right, let's just focus up. Next map, we're fine. Like something like that. And then some people just need something like to distract them. I think. Like just tell them to go get the flag or like ask them a question about something else and just get their mind off of the tilt and onto the next objective. But yeah,
yeah.
it's hard to do in the moment when you're also trying to stay calm when someone just tanked 2 shots right in front of you, and you're also trying to do all these different things in game. But
I think just tell them compliments. That's also a good way to do it. There's a lot of people that respond well to compliments. You're looking awesome today.
just hit them with the shit. They'll be no longer tilted.
I will say one thing that Bear always did for me when I was having issues with tilting was he would just always like say, "Hey, come back. We're still in this. Keep playing." He was a real huge help with that. Um, I don't know if "Hey, come back" specifically is like the best thing, but it worked really well for me. Bear is honestly one of my best teammates for doing
Baby,
that.
come back.
Because
You can blame it all.
Bear was the only one that actively did that while I was having issues, so I appreciate him. But yeah, I think it's just trying to get their mind off what happened and get them on the next thing, which is something I actively try to do now as well. Is keep them focused on the next objective, keep them moving, give them a compliment here or there when they do good. So, Arto does.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like there's different kinds of tilting. Like there's rage tilting, and there's just kind of giving up tilting, and
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to like. There's different ways to approach those. I think it's best like I don't know. And sometimes like there'll be a few people that they shout out something once, and you go, hey, let's go, and they're fine. So
Yep.
just it kind of depends on the player. It kind of depends on the situation, but
They can.
usually you want to do something. You don't just want to let them kind
Yeah.
of sit in it.
I think a general thumb is just try to keep them moving forward. Don't let them sit and simmer. Yeah,
Yeah.
just keep them focused on the next part of the map or the next objective or whatever it needs to be.
That's what helps for me when I'm trying to keep myself from tilting. Is just tell myself to focus on whatever's coming next, and you don't have time to tilt.
Yeah, Devs tells me to STFU all the time. Pretty sad.
True. Oh, I fell off the map. Shut the fuck up, Cayman.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, being quiet and not reacting is almost always the wrong play. That just means the atmosphere turns to garbage. You're gonna get affected by it. Your other teammates, if you have them, are gonna get affected by it. Like it's just there is nothing good comes of that. For the most part, there's never really a good scenario that not reacting to somebody tilting is a good thing.
But it's definitely one of the hardest things to do because there's usually an awkward tension, especially if they just yelled at you.
Yeah, unless you're like really good friends with the person, it's definitely difficult. Or you know them, but it's something you have to try. And yeah, Yoda's too was right as well. If it's something really smaller, they kind of move on past it. You don't have to. You don't have to tell them that they're tilting or whatever. Like try to get them focused because they're probably just annoyed in the moment, and they'll move right on after that. So,
question number 2.
Yeah. What format do you guys prefer when hearing a teammate call out enemy positions? EX, sniper first, or ISO second? Doves killed me bridges. What's the most efficient call out you would like for intel? Me as a player, I just prefer it short and sweet. There's a guy bridges. There's a guy second. There's a guy third. He's north, first. I don't need names. I don't need specifics. I just need to know that there's a player coming from that angle. And also on top of that, I think if you tell sometimes, not all the time, but I think if you tell people the player that's coming from that angle, they can get shook, for lack of a better term. Like if you tell a low tier player that Dubs is coming from bridges, they're gonna be like, well, there's a decent chance I lose this. But if you just say, hey, player X is, or if you just say, hey, somebody's bridges, they'll go play it to win instead of I gotta not lose to this guy. So
Yeah, I think class is also definitely
that's true. Yeah,
very important.
yeah, class is important. I forgot about that. Definitely say NG or sniper. Because if you're a sniper and you come around the corner right in the face of an NG, you're probably gonna die.
Yeah, or if I'm an NG and someone tells me there's a sniper right around the corner, I'm probably just gonna W in.
Yeah. Can't confirm. I've seen doves W key around the corner.
If I'm close range, and then if they call out that there is a sniper, and then you W in and there's a dead pack in your face, you're like, well, that was fun.
I think it's important to note that you don't have to call out based on what somebody wants. And I think that calling class and location is best.
Yeah, and also one thing is, there's plenty of times where someone, when I'm playing a match, someone will call out like, "Oh, there's one pushing third," and I'll just say like, "What class?" And if they know, then they'll answer me, and if they don't know, then they won't. And that's really all that you can ask for, I guess. Just because your teammate didn't give you all the information doesn't mean you can't ask for it. You got to be willing to ask those. Like, no one's gonna get offended if you ask them. Like, if you like, "Oh, are you questioning my call outs?" Like, no, I'm just asking for more info.
Yeah.
So
And if you don't have the info,
people,
you don't have it. Like if you just know there's somebody third, but you don't know the class, you don't know the class. There's nothing you can do about it. You just know there's a player there. I don't think the name's important as well. I'm a mid-tier player, and I don't think the name's important. I think it's just class and location.
yeah, it kind of depends. I don't know. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I guess.
If they call ace, I just W key around the corner every time because it doesn't matter what class he is, he's dead.
True.
Um, is there any help staff needs from average people like myself in the community? What would help?
I think the biggest thing I would say is just do your part to keep the atmosphere in this game not tilted.
Yeah, I think just
Um,
a good atmosphere, being active, promoting activity. Just you're doing more than enough already if that's what you're doing. Um, I mean, activity is always the goal. We're a very small game. We've been growing, which is amazing. In 2020 Battlefront 2000 or 2021 now, Battlefront 2005 is growing. I know that not every player on the leaderboard in Rank Scrims is active, but we have 67 players. When it first came out, we had I think 35 or 38, something in that range. So yeah, we're doing great with activity, but keeping a good atmosphere, promoting activity, and helping players, just helping them improve, help tell them what they do wrong. If you have, and I think that the important thing is it just because you're mid tier, bottom tier, don't be afraid to be like, hey, you could have played this differently. A lot of people are usually responsive to that type of stuff. But Wolvia, honestly, I see you doing a good job already. So
yeah, I think you getting that pub was really nice for us, especially with the pubs in the past have really struggled. I think we have a lot of activity right now, so I'm hoping that this pub can stay afloat. But really, we you played back in the day in the SR days, and whatever. And I mean, I think one of the reasons that the community fell off was just because people were just really toxic and trolly, and you couldn't actually get like a serious game without somebody just being stupid. And like, if that's the community's culture, it's gonna die. So if you want this community to stay alive, you want this community to grow, you have to make it something worth staying around for, or it's just going to it's gonna die slowly. And the game itself is very tilting, so the community has to be the community has to be something that you want to stick around with. You want to play with these guys. There's a lot of good friends in this community, a lot of people that I enjoy playing with and hanging out with and just talking to. So
I,
I think that close knit thing is one of the reasons why people are here, and that's something that we need to make sure it's really important.
I think we do a great job of it. Like this community nowadays is nothing like it was back in the GameSpy days, Jedi or Conquest.
Hmm.
I think and I think it's been actively improving rather than declining. I guess getting worse. Whatever you want to use there for words, but yeah, I think we do a good job of it. I think we can keep going forward, and we've been doing that lately. Like Dove said, with your pub and Fact You and Ice and others, keep it active. You guys are doing great. So yeah, just keep up what you're doing. I think you guys do a good job of that already. Let the staff handle tournaments and stuff like that. We'll take care of it. The SR days were the peak of good vibes and fun. I wasn't even around for those, and I already know how bad they were.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Moving on to the next question. What's your preferred strafing method? Hold down A and tap D, or just click AD individually? Well, Doves, I believe you don't use either of those.
I more just try to predict which way someone's going to shoot against me and move. But yeah, I also use YGHJ. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
A and D are for scrubs. If your name is Brandon and you're from Texas and you're not Iceman, then your preferred strafing method is just spamming A and D as fast as you possibly can.
You're not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I put a lot of thought into my AD strafe when I'm not able to shoot, but when I'm able to shoot, I just try to predict what people are going to shoot next.
Yeah, I'm always trying to guess where people are going to shoot on me. I think that's where the best strafe can be.
But when I'm reloading, oh hell yeah, I AD hard.
Just do a million 180s and
then we'll give you a scrim ban.
Just get a DPI switch on your mouse and then set the second switch to the max, and then whenever you're reloading, just flick it on and spin. And no one will hit you.
Are there any plans to create BCL specific or custom maps that are independent, not included in the original game?
I mean, I guess yes.
I think
like Londo's map was meant for BCL.
Yeah, I guess it's already happened, but overall, no. It's just been community contributing to it, and then we're finding maps that were made and then adjusting them for competitive. So yes and no. Old Fortress, Necropolis, those two maps were made by Smith and Londo, and they were made for the intent of being played competitively. Villain made a map that didn't make it in because it was just massive, I think, was the overall issue. But
yeah, there were a few problems. I mean, it's actually insanely hard to make a good map.
It is. It really is. Skip 5 FPS frag show, please. You don't like seeing that? Ace asks, who is the biggest clown in this community and why do you choose Ryan?
I mean, RRWS literally stands for Ryan Rarely Wins Scrims, so
all right,
pretty much all you need to know.
Okay.
Big clown.
I was gonna say Dubs is the biggest clown, but
that's toxic.
Yeah. What are the most important factors that make a map good? This is Ryan's question.
Ooh. Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest questions
the thing
to
is
ever answer.
This thing is also it's going to depend on who you talk to. But I think I think the map that you look at for your baseline is Mos Eisley, because I think Mos Eisley is pretty close to the perfect map. You have multiple avenues to touch both flags. It's one-sided until you get darkies in, which makes it more 50-50. It has cover. It has a forward and back spawn that are utilized. Yeah, I think Moss is basically the ideal map almost. And yeah, and then another thing that Scout just pointed out, you can have NG and Sniper on both on the map.
Yeah, it's good for NG, for Sniper, for Specs. It's good for people that want to play different styles. I think you need some kind of way, like Mustafar also is a good one, and it's not like the biggest map, and there's a lot of like Sniper is not the most viable. You can still play it, but it's definitely an NG favored map, and we never play it in. Well, we don't never play it in GSW, but we rarely play it in GSW where uh, what's it called? Jet Trooper and Magna are also pretty viable. So
Yeah,
I think you need some kind of method of being able to stall people out, right? Like you can't just have pure openness. Where Mos Eisley, uh, it's like you can stall people out still, even though it's a bit more open. It's not like Utapau where it's just a massive open field, right? So you
yeah.
can still play around corners and walls and stuff like that.
And the important
And
thing about
buildings.
what makes Musty good too is there's defendable positions for both sides. You have the choke points for the droids, and then you have the ramp for Whiteside. So, yeah, I think Musty, and then I think that attributes to their playtime and competitive play. Musty and Moss are kind of like the baseline for good competitive maps. You need something similar to that. Doesn't have to be like similar in terms of map layout. It's just you have to make it so there's viability for everything, basically, if that makes sense. Obviously, Musty is mostly an NG map, but you can still play Sniper on it. Like people, like if droids get a pull and they somehow make it into mid, it's very common for a Republic to play Sniper bottom ramp to try and take it out.
Yeah, I've definitely spawned in on Sniper multiple times on Mustafar, but I think in general Engineer is stronger.
Yeah. Baron asks, who's winning today's matches for the BFH tourney? We kind of touched on this already. If you want to give your predictions again.
I'm going Team Kevin
Yeah.
and Team Floros.
I'll go Team Kevin, and then yeah, I'm gonna believe in Weebs. We'll go with Weebs. I think it's gonna be really close both matches, but Team Kevin, Team Weebs.
Big bold predictions there, Tim. You're predicting I think what most people consider the underdog in both. So we'll see. We'll see.
Mustafar is just a better version of Balmora on one side of the other side. That's not correct though, because Mustafar Brown side is much more defensible than Balmora. Balmora is super open, whereas Mustafar Brown side has choke points in the hallways on both sides.
Yeah, Balmora is a better DS. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's more accurate too.
I honestly don't mind shields that much.
I don't mind the shields on Balmora. I did not like the shields on Mustafar and Tantive. I think that people make too big of a deal over the shields on Balmora. I don't think Balmora should be banned. I just don't think it's a Mustafar. I think Balmora is a good map. I like playing on it.
Yeah, the shields shouldn't allow deaths through. Unfortunately, there's no way that we can change that because it's hard coded into the game that if you make units be able to go through, then you make deaths be able to go through.
Nice.
So, yeah. The way Puma would be if the developers, or not the developer, whoever has the source code released it to the public, then we could do it. However, we've been asking for that for a million years, so good luck.
It's only been 15. Okay, it's not going drastic here.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Well, 16.
Why are you guys so handsome? Che asks.
I just gotta
just born with it.
Gotta use that Dove shampoo.
Dove shampoo, Christ.
Wash your hair with Dove shampoo and eat your Dove chocolate. It'll turn you into a absolute baller.
Che, I want you to know you did this. You spawned this. Lucas asks, your thoughts about Must GCW and Jabba's GCW CTF, and he has quite a few Nopers reactions to it.
I think they're pretty not good.
I don't think Mustafar GCW is that bad. I think it's still pretty okay to play. I think CW is by far the better option, but I don't think Musty GCW is terrible. Jabba's CTF GCW is absolute. Well, I'm not gonna say what I would say because we're trying to be PG-13, but yeah, it's terrible. It's awful. It's just awful. I do not like that at all.
I think like one of the things is I've heard people saying that in the times where Mustafar GCW is picked, that Rebels are actually doing pretty well, and I think one of the reasons for that is because it's picked when one of the teams doesn't have good darkies, right?
Yeah.
That's one. I mean, I do think actually Rebels on both sides have been doing better than expected, but um, I think just the way the tables work kind of nerfs Darky pretty hard, more than like compared to most low ceiling maps, where if the tables were a bit lower, Darky would just be even more broken, I think. But the tables do give Wookiee that kind of advantage playing around them.
Yeah, I think Mustafar is okay. I don't think it's terrible, but Jabba's is awful. It is awful.
The problem with Mustafar is if you lose your spawn control, there's kind of nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to break out once the darkies are just sitting in your spawn.
I'm gonna
But,
kind of skip Pookie's question because there's no need to. Yeah. Doves, I guess Vin has a question for you. How many birds does it take to change a light bulb?
I have changed multiple light bulbs in my lifetime.
So just one. You heard it here first.
We can touch on Pookie's question, I think, actually.
Okay, if you want
I
to.
think he's making it more specific about him, but I think we can broaden it to kind of sniper players who are not as strong on NGs.
I think people always say NG's an RNG battle, which in of itself isn't incorrect. You're definitely at some point either going to one shot somebody or you're going to get one shot. But I also think you can limit the amount of RNG you play with. And I think that sniper players don't really do that too much. You can play with corners, you can play with tables, and you can use your det packs. I think the biggest thing that I see from sniper players moving over to NG is they just don't use their explosive that much. And it's definitely hard to get used to, but it's something you just need to force yourself to practice.
You can drop a lot of kills on Mustafar playing det pack only, pretty much. It's a map where det packs are insanely strong on. Also, I think Mustafar is a map where you run into a lot of like choke points and stuff like that, and just playing better around those, waiting for like when you need to push, when you need to just hold someone, is a very important thing on Mustafar.
And I knew this would eventually appear. You don't like being det packed or you think det packs are cheesy. Fact of the matter is, det packs are in the game. You can use them or not, but if you don't use them, you're going to be at a disadvantage every time. Because the person that's using the det pack has got something that will one shot you, regardless if it's. Well, it is related to proximity, but if it's on you, it's not going to be an RNG thing where it doesn't kill you. So, yeah, det packs are part of the game. You just got to get used to using them.
I think det packs are a lot more skilled than people give them credit for.
I agree with that too, but
and if you're constantly getting det packed, I think you need to be paying more attention to who's throwing. Like you have to be paying much more attention to their arrow on your minimap.
Well, Scott,
because
no, keep going. Sorry, I thought you were done.
There's just a lot of times where you can tell someone's about to det pack you, and once you're used to that and like kind of get looking at the minimap or knowing in this spot, yeah, this guy's probably about to det pack me. You just need to be prepared for it and get ready for that roll once you see it coming.
Well, Scout, the thing is even if you're being sarcastic, there's people who actually believe that, so it's still a good thing to answer. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for players moving on to NG is you just need to get used to using objects around you and using your det packs. Don't just rely on shotgun damage because when you lose, it feels terrible because you got RNG'd.
Yeah, I think just for Mustafar in general, kind of Poogie's question is, I think it's a map where you need to know when to hold and when to push. Because if you push at the wrong time, just because of the way the map works, all those choke points and tables where people can be behind, if you're pushing at a bad time, you're just going to die.
Yeah.
Because people have better cover than you, or they have better positioning than you, and you cannot get away with a bad push on Mustafar.
I think that.
So I would say just there you go.
Yeah, I think the biggest overall thing though is you just gotta experiment and play differently. Like Vishy's saying, sniper mains also play VS NGs and snipers the same. you have to change how you play. Like you can't just play the same. You can't just rely on your aim or whatever you want to call it.
Let me just answer Nightwing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nightwing, we've been meaning to update some of them, but we've just kind of never gotten around to it. But yeah, that's something that's been on my to-do list for a very long time.
I think they tried to fix Tantive Circle Room Collision at one point, right? And were you like phasing in and out of the pillar?
No, it's fixed. We
Okay.
just needed to release it with shields or with doors instead of shields.
Okay.
That's literally it. But it's all in one pack, so it's kind of tricky.
Okay. Kimu asks, what advice do you want to give to the newest players? Grind.
Get good.
I mean, I think that it's just in a nutshell. Playtime, watching better players, learning from better players, asking questions. But the biggest thing is playtime. You just have to play the game. And sometimes it's really hard to grind this game because it's really annoying to grind, but it's just part of it.
Yeah, I think
and definitely what Puma's saying, have fun.
Play 2v2s, watch your own VODs, ask questions, ask for help. Like I think at the start of the first 3v3 league, maybe, I think Crude just DM'd me and said, "Hey, do you have any tips on playing NG?" And I sent him like a paragraph response, and just don't be afraid to ask people.
And afterwards, Crude was popping off on NG, so
nobody's that busy in this community where they literally can't send you a paragraph response at some point, and maybe they won't get to it this very day, but you don't need it this very day. Like they'll get to it within a week or so at least. So just don't be afraid to ask people. It's
Dave,
just do some critical thinking.
Dave, don't inflate Dev's ego.
Just every time you die, go back and watch it and think, what could I have done differently in this scenario?
Yeah, I think a lot of people always focus on tanking or the lag or something like that, but the fact of the matter is, more often than not, you can go back and watch yourself get put in that scenario and you can realize you could have done something different to avoid it. You can almost always find a scenario where you did not have to be in a situation where you one-shot him or he one-shots you. It's not always the case, but for the majority you can. So
yeah, if you're playing behind the tables on Mustafar, it's very rare that you're going to get one shot. But if you're pushing to someone in the open, like below ramp, right? If you're fighting someone who's behind that table below ramp and you're just pushing out trying to get to them by yourself, you're probably just going to lose that fight, and it's going to feel like they're doing a lot of damage to you and you're not doing much to them. The reason is because they can see your full body and you can see like half of their body.
Yep.
So it's people like to claim damage, but sometimes it's just use your surroundings. Learn from your mistakes.
Ben asked how many licks does it take to get the center of a Tootsie Pop. He said he would like to see me try. He's not going to get to see me try. According to Kimu, it's about 310 licks. So there you go.
Yeah, thank you, Van. Thank you, Floros. Very cool.
And Wolvie is 100% correct. I had never played infantry or whatever you want to call it prior to Steam, and it took a long time to realize that I just need playtime. I don't have anywhere near the hours some people do.
I think most of us here remember Taylor. I think that's one of the things that he was struggling with the most is he wanted to get good very quickly, and it was very frustrating for him when he wasn't improving as fast as he wanted to.
Yep.
So just give yourself a break.
Pookie asks, who is the thickest BCL player? Any comments?
I'm not going to say what's coming to my mind, but maybe we should just move past this question.
Well, according to Kimu, it's Pookie because he carries us all. Che asks, top 3 or 5 maps not currently in the map pool for ranked scrims 3v3 league.
That's a hard question because
Yeah.
generally, if they're a good map, we have them in the pool.
I guess for top 3 for me that's not in the pool would probably be Indoor, Felucia, and maybe Megiddo, maybe. I don't know. There's not that many options. Indoor and Felucia, I think, are like the ones that are like borderline good, but
Let me open up the
or not.
map list.
Yeah, Yavin. Yavin's the map I'm thinking of. Sorry, not Indoor. I get those two confused all the time. They're both tree maps. But Felucia for sure.
Yeah, that's tough. I think some of the maps they just have.
I guess I'll
like
put.
there's. Oh yeah, you can.
I'll put Death Star in front of Megiddo, I guess.
I think there's a lot of maps that are just really close to being good maps, and then it just have one or two things that are just so bad that you just can't get past them. One of those being Megiddo, where like Megiddo is almost a really good map, but however, it just favors camping just a little bit too much, and that just kind of ruins the whole map.
Yeah,
Just
and
because of how OP some of those spots are.
yes, Death Star is Division 2 only. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. But if for the top 3, it would definitely be Yavin, Felucia, and Death Star that are not in. Probably, yeah. I would have to look at it more, but yeah. Pookie. Okay, serious question. Most underrated EU player on NYC. Probably Lucas if we're going by recent performance.
Yeah, Lucas has done really well in rank scrims, except for the time that he was on my team. Let me look at the list. I think Obi's been playing well lately. He definitely struggles on NYC, but I think if he keeps practicing NYC more, I think he'll go up.
Sean,
I'll give it to Obi.
Yeah, I haven't seen Sean enough NYC to have an opinion on that. I know he 2v2s by evidence of Wolvie, but yeah. No, I'm not reading that question. Devs can answer it if he wants.
What question?
It's in Twitch chat.
I haven't done Eastern in a long time.
Me neither. So that's what I was gonna say. Which maps that never get played currently do you think could become playable with a handful of changes? Oh, I completely forgot about Naboo. Naboo's not in the competitive pool. That's one of the top 3 maps. There you go.
Ooh. I don't know if I agree with that.
It is for me. I think
Naboo's pretty bad, but
yeah, it is for me though.
Maybe. I wonder if there's a way we could scale the map down a bit.
That would be kind of interesting. Yavin, I think, yeah, Yavin is probably one of the ones that's not in there, but I don't know how you change a crashing issue, so...
No, it's Endor that crashes, not Yavin. Pretty sure Yavin doesn't crash.
Then what do we need to fix about Yavin, then?
Yavin is...
It's the one you push up the hill, right? Yeah.
Usually it goes very quickly, the cap zones. Despite Yavin being an actual really big map, the cap zones are very close. Yavin, yeah, it's kind of just a lot of high ground camping is part of the problem with it. I think that's why people don't really like it.
Yeah. Megiddo you could fix just by axing off the fucking if you could just make it a giant circle, it'd be a decent map. The 2 areas you can get trapped in, specifically the one that's way long away.
Yeah, I know Smith at one point was working on a Megiddo fix, but I don't think he ever finished through with that. I think that's a scratch project.
So yeah, that would be one that you could fix a lot.
Yeah, I think those NCPs or where the flag caps are just need to be moved up Like if the bridges were half the distance. Actually, one map I want to say Polis for one of the best 3 maps. That's not in the
Yeah,
pool.
that's true. That's true. Polis is in the pool.
And I think Polis, like that's one where it's also just it's so close to being a good map. It's just those hallways, the really long ones, are just awful.
If you could take the
In my
mid hangar
opinion.
and like put a tunnel from it to some other intersection of the map, you would definitely make it a better map.
I think you have to shorten those long tunnels. Those 2 long
I
tunnels,
mean,
I
if you
think you
just
have
add
to shorten them.
if you just add another avenue of attack or movement, it fixes the problem in of itself. The choke points then become a lot less
Yeah,
problematic.
I still think they would need to be shortened because I think
Or what Yoda's saying,
yeah,
you can make it one big tunnel.
that would help, or put some cover. Like I was talking to J-Man one point when we were doing shield stuff, and I was like, "What if we put some shields in those tunnels? That way you can actually push up." But I don't know if that would really help. Or people would probably not like that, so we never did it.
Okay, so we're here asking editor questions.
If I rotate an object in Zero Editor, I don't need to clean, right? Yes, you just need to munch.
Predictions for which teams will make Division 1 and 3v3. Which teams are you most looking forward to in either division? We've talked.
That's kind of tough. The problem is I need to see the mini like signups haven't officially closed yet, and I would need to see the mini bracket before I really had an idea.
So the clear top 3 right now, for sure, in the current signups is Ryan's team, Undercover Champions, and Highness. Those 3 are definitely Division 1. Highness is for sure because they were Division 1 last season. They take a slot automatically. So is Undercover Champions because they have 2 of the 4 returning players. Then you've got Ryan's team. I think Runaway's team right now would be Division 1. It'd be pretty hard because of like Runaway's slaying power and how good he is to remove that. And then for 5th and 6th gets tough. It gets really tough right now. But for teams I'm looking forward to, KJC's back, but with Blade. I'm hoping Blade plays. I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm really looking forward to seeing the Finnish team play. Really looking forward to that. But yeah, it's really hard to predict divisions because signups aren't finished. We don't have the bracket, and I know of at least 1 or 2 more teams that could be forming, and there's plenty of players to form even more than that. So it's really hard to answer that right now. He is right.
You've got the platinum player Lucas, still a free agent. So
I see Lucas and Pictures are kind of talking. Maybe they'll make a team.
Lucas, Pictures, and Dave. That'd be a pretty hype team.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Also Svenny, yeah.
Well, then tell Svenny to make a post in free agents, or Lucas and Pictures reach out to him.
Lucas, Pictures, Dave, Svenny. Make it happen.
Yeah, there you go. Put pen to paper. When will the summer major be held, and how does it work for those who didn't see it last year, like myself? This is a question from Dave. BFH gave you a very good example of how it's going to work. Maybe some slight differences. You're going to have mostly NA captains instead of all EU or not all EU, like a mix of EU and NA captains. But that is the general idea of how it works. It will. You'll hear something by May. Probably by May we'll start signups. But right now it's still going to be in the discussion phase. We're trying to get the 3v3 season going first. But yeah, BFH gives you a very good idea of how it would work.
Yes, pretty much.
Favorite edit video or frag show from WoW? Favorite edit video, holy shit. Or frag show?
I honestly don't watch frag shows too much just because, I don't know, they all kind of blend together at some point for me when you've watched enough of them. Some of the edit videos I used to watch back in the day I think were really cool.
Sims edit videos have always been
This
godlike.
frag vid flows so well is a nice meme that used to be.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I guess Slenders are really good to watch just because of how pog the clips are, but I don't have a favorite. I don't think I like watching all of them if I do watch them.
I will give an honorable mention to Pictures, the way he edits his. frag shows are really entertaining.
I do like watching pictures. They are fun to watch.
Like he's got like clips from people saying stuff about him in voice is pretty entertaining, I think.
Yeah. Puma replied to this saying he hoped it was one of his. I don't think WoW agreed with that, unfortunately.
Omega lol Toby.
How would you respond to a newcomer asking why we play this game competitively when the hit reg is bad and top and have to play in 30 TPS servers? I actually have a paragraph buried somewhere where I talked about this.
The gameplay is just fun. That's it.
I think that's, in a sense, we have friendship here and the fact that it's unique. Yeah, unique and fun. I think I always compare Battlefront to Smash. But Smash played despite ridiculous lag and stuff, except for LAN and all that. And I think that it's a fun, unique game. We like to make it competitive. We like to improve it, so we push through the issues of it. I wish I had that paragraph that I think I sent it to Strider a long time ago. I could probably find it, but yeah.
I think one of the things about this game is the fact for me is that there's pretty much no guns where you're just like clicking and holding. Like there's the Regi and the Clone Commander, and I guess Droideka too. Technically Bothan, if you want to put that in there. But those also aren't, other than Clone Commander, they're pretty not used. I think Bothan maybe Pro Slayer and Van are putting it on the map, but Regi's obviously not used and Droideka's banned. So I think it's the fact that you kind of have to aim every shot. You have to really make sure that you are just like, I don't know. I played COD for a little bit once. I played one of them and I just kind of got bored of it after a while because every gun just felt the same to me. It's just click and hold, and yeah, I just found it more exciting playing on Shoddy or Sniper, Wookiee. I think those classes are just so much fun to play more than using click and hold guns. Which I mean, obviously, yes, click and hold is very simplifying some of those games. And if you just click and hold in Counter Strike, you're probably just going to get butt fucked because it's a lot harder to aim than just clicking and holding down and putting your crosshair on them. So yeah, but like when I play Counter Strike, it's the M4 compared to the AK compared to the AUG or something. They just feel so much more similar to me than the Battlefront guns. And yeah, I just think Battlefront is just such a unique game that that's why we all love it. We're all addicted.
I think it's a great unique game that was way ahead of its time and unfortunately is past its time now. But we still play it because we'd like to keep it alive.
If this game got remastered, like I think this game would be so fucking insane as an esport.
I think it would too.
If you had an actual like dev team behind it, I think it would be so much more entertaining than some of the other
and just think if it somehow happens while we're playing, maybe we'll be the front runners of the esports. But that's something that probably won't happen, but it's fun to think about, and I think that trying to make it our own mini little esport is fun. So
yeah, and then Simple and Cold Zero move to Battlefront and just destroy us.
Yeah, and then we're out. But it's fun.
We'll have our moment.
It's fun to think and do for now. So I think that's the biggest thing. Is what makes me push past all the brokenness of the game. Is it's just unique, fun, and I can do a lot of stuff that I really wanted to do. Yeah. So
I would kind of love to see like a top Counter Strike player just play this game on Sniper, see how good their aim would be.
Yeah. Yeah. The questions actually took up more like 50 minutes. We're at just under 2 hours now, so another 2-hour episode of Stay to the Front.
Yes, sir.
I want to give a huge props to you guys. The questions were very good this time. Which it's not to say the questions are ever bad, but there was a ton of good ones in this one that required well thought out answers and took time, which is why we just took about 15 minutes on questions. So, and also
props to Wolvie too for his well done questions.
And I thank you guys as always for watching. You guys make this stuff fun and stuff entertaining. Love watching chat while we do it and answering stuff in there too. There you go, Doves. Answer Vicious question.
Who let Doves get Nitro? I believe Yoni. He's a Discord admin, so wait, Rishi, you know why I got Nitro.
Yeah, he knows why. But yeah, oh yeah. While now posted in chat, good reminder. We are now part of the subreddit Discord. We have a feature on there. BFH is also on there. And then BFH also has another draft match coming up for DFR versus WJC right after that. An hour after that is PWA versus KBTC. So yeah, go watch that after this, guys. And thank you for watching. We will be live again next week for State of the Front, and hopefully 3v3 will start soon too.
Is there?
Wrong button.